till I learn to love again. How long does it take to comprehend? Foolish and blue, afraid to sleep, 'cause our dreams make.
Hey,
Well, look what we have here.
good morning.
Stephanie Monroe. Everybody loves Stephanie Monroe.
Oh, everybody loves J-Rod too.
No, live music executive, music leader in the St. Louis, Missouri area. What a leader you are. 4th annual Music for the Mind Festival, like Lake Wappapello, August 18th, 19th. How are you, Steph?
I'm wonderful. How are you, Jamie?
Good. So good to see you. You look great.
Thanks.
And we have so much to talk about. And, we'll talk about everything. I mean, the lineup is great. Lots of good friends, Paul McDonald, Adam Chaffins, Lady Couch, new acts. We're excited to see like the Dirty Dozen brand. And of course, Sister Maggie Rose. So yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. And, I was thinking about you the other night because I was listening to George Strait. It came up. I know you love George Strait. And, George Strait in the 80s, he suffered, the loss of his 13-year-old daughter. And he kind of used that grief to like 11 straight #1 singles right after that, back-to-back CMA Entertainer of the Year awards. So, resilience and grit, Steph, that's where I'm going. It's one of the most beautiful things. And that's why I admire you. And that's why I'm celebrating you today, Steph, because, anyone can say, I want to start a music festival, but someone to build it from grit and use it as a tool for mental health and coping with trauma is an amazing accomplishment, Steph. And to have it become 4 years in 4 short years, like such a beautiful, growing and important thing, that is something to be commended, Steph.
Well, I appreciate that. And it's support from folks like you that give me the extra boost on hard days and, the grit to keep going, as you said.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have to tell you, Steph, it's almost, by the way, like a magic trick because, some people watching you maybe on the video version are seeing you in a classroom. You're also a wonderful teacher. You're an incredible mother. Yeah, to 2 special boys. I've had very, very, educated, nice young man. Your mom is great. You're a great daughter, great community leader, and you're organizing a music festival. And you've become like a music person. I guess the question, Steph, is, how do you keep yourself centered and organized to have such a balanced life? It's not easy, Steph.
No, it's, I hear you saying these things and I'm like, well, it's a lot. No, I make time for myself every day, whether it's 30 minutes, whether it's 5 minutes in the morning to meditate or to hit the gym or to get outside in nature. I have taken a lot of pride in making time for myself. And in turn, it's made me a better person and more productive. So
yeah, you got to do it. But you obviously do a great job at it, Steph. And, I wanted to ask you about the festival itself. But I love your passion in music as well, Steph. And how did it start? Like your passion for music? Did it come from your father, David? David Swindell, great guy. Or did it come from Marla and her wonderful smile? Like, where did this musical joy come from?
Musical joy came from my entire family. It's just something that was embedded into my soul. We didn't watch a whole lot of TV. We listened to a lot of music, and it was always a wide variety of music. My mom had more blues and Motown and soul, and my dad had more classic country and rock. So it's kind of the perfect marriage of the two.
Yeah.
And, we're talking about, where the mental health and as far as my drive, discovering my trauma and really digging deep into the root of my mental health, I've discovered that music is my healthy disassociation. It is my way to self-regulate. So, there's a lot of behaviors in certain diagnoses that use stimming or sensory to calm or, to ground themselves. And music is mine, whether it's in joy to find joy or whether it's to just disconnect for a little bit and connect emotionally on a level. So music touches every angle of that, which is, I think that's for everybody. I mean, that's a deep way to look at it. But from the time I was a child, if I had a bad day, it was the Fisher Price record player. I'm dating myself here.
Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah.
You know, singing into my hairbrush. So it's always been the way I cope with good moods, bad days, good days. So
Yeah, absolutely. Now, the birth of this festival, Steph, and you talked a little bit about your trauma, and you know, I know this story, and your friends know this story, and you have such a great story of resilience, right? The hero's journey, the comeback, you know, from a hard moment. If you don't mind, kind of sharing with us how this started, and maybe a little bit, very briefly, about, you know, tell us a little bit about your late husband and what happened and what triggered all this.
yes, 2018 was a nightmare of a year. I not only lost my husband, I lost my father.
Your father, yeah.
Both my grandmothers and my father-in-law, and of course my husband, and that was all in 16 months. So it was a tremendous loss in a very short amount of time. And
it was your husband's was an unexpected loss, right?
Yes, he had a dirt bike accident in our backyard, and it was very sudden and very traumatic experience as far as the outcome of everything and how it all played out. But that tragedy led me to a lot of sleepless nights, and we actually met because of music. He was a musician, and those sleepless nights of wondering how I could ever repay the community for all their love and support that they gave me throughout that year led to me wanting to pay it forward. And I created Music for the Mind. It seemed the fitting way to pay legacy to our sons and to keep his legacy alive. And every year I am just in awe at how his spirit is always present. It's a beautiful thing. And anyone that knew him, you know, well, they always come up to me and say, he's here, you know, like, so it's just been beautiful experience keeping his legacy alive. And the music that I bring in is definitely influenced by his favorites. So
interesting. Yeah. So what was your aha moment, Steph? Like, so you're going through this horrible grieving period, you know, depression, really, you know, just these dark times. What was the light bulb moment? Was there like a moment where you were like, you know, that you can pinpoint with Music for the Mind?
Yeah, it was about 3:00 in the morning. I woke up suddenly. I'd actually gone to sleep that night, and I woke up suddenly because I felt like I had music on in the background, and I that's it. We met because of music, and I've got to incorporate music. And I actually had like a journal next to my bed and kind of came up with the headphone idea. And then it was like, you know, it was all these thoughts rushing through about how therapy had helped me, and friends that are very strong in coping mechanisms and mental health, and professionals, all these thoughts, and it immediately became Music for the Mind. And
amazing.
From there, it was a t-shirt sale, and then it was like, no, I've got to have like music. So it's just grown, and I'm so very thankful that it has. It's so humbling to be able to help others and healing. I mean, 100% healing. So
yeah, and it's such a special festival, and it's easy to get to. It's like 120 miles south of St. Louis, easy to drive from Nashville. You know, it's not a bad drive. So, you know, all that area, you know, Kentucky, Illinois, like super easy and super intimate, and such a special festival, Steph. And the lineup. Obviously, you know, we've talked a lot about many of the acts. I mean, Paul McDonald, you know, American Idol, you know, I think he was runner-up or like, you know, top contestant, you know, Sister Maggie Rose, what needs to be said about her? Adam Chaffins, incredible voice, incredible talent, one of the most in-demand session singers in Nashville.
30 dozen brass bands.
Yes, I was going to ask you about them. Tell me about them, because, you know, I have to admit, not that familiar with them, but I know that they're huge. Tell us.
Oh, yes. Well, they just won a Grammy for Best Roots Performance.
There you go.
But, yeah, they have been playing for, I believe, nearly 40 years. They're like the original jam band of New Orleans.
Mm.
They're a legacy in New Orleans and celebrating Mardi Gras. And they've worked with everyone from Widespread Panic to the Black Crows. Of course, they're fun. They've taken typical Mardi Gras music and twisted it around to where even like the legendary people in New Orleans were like, wait a minute, you're like twisting what we do and turning it into your own. And
So
they
fun.
really have. They're phenomenal. They're gonna be so much fun.
So it's gonna be a party.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I mean, the whole thing is a party, and it's so intimate. And one of the coolest things about Music for the Mind, I mean, there's a lot of cool things. The intimacy is my favorite, the people spirit, the spirit of your late husband, which is just everywhere in the camp. But like the lake situation, the pontoons, you have like, intimate songwriters, just performing on the water, right? Tell us a little bit about all that and how fans can get to it.
Yeah, you were able to experience that last year, and this year it's only going to be bigger. We are going to be at the Sandbar. It's known around to the locals as the Tree, but the tree's no longer there. But it's a sandbar. And this year we're planning on actually having amps and mics out on the pontoon. And Paul McDonald and potentially some of Lady Couch's members and Maggie will be out there, and it's going to be a fun way to spend the day on the lake and enjoy live music right as you're sitting in the water. We had to carry Maggie's guitar very, carefully to the boat. So good. It's such a fun auction item. People can bid to actually ride out with Maggie and the musicians on the pontoon. They get a lunch and drinks and just have a free ride out there and hang out. But it's just a great way to celebrate the lake and to get together, like you said, on an intimate level and get to know people and talk and hang out.
Amazing. And there's plenty of hotels as well in the area, right? Like close by, right, Steph?
Yes. Poplar Bluff is only 10 minutes away.
Okay, close, yeah.
Yes. There are lots of cabins and lodges in Wappapello that are available as well, but I offer a shuttle to take people over and pick them up from Poplar Bluff. So if they're concerned about where in the heck they need to lodge, don't worry about that. A shuttle will, accommodate. So
amazing. Well, tickets are still available at musicforthemind.co without the M. But Steph Monroe, I mean, look, we came here to talk about our great music festival, but the real story here is your story. You are incredible. You're an inspiration. The comeback is better than the setback. You inspire us every day, and we thank you for that because you show us that we can create light out of any darkness. And that is what makes you so special. So thank you, Steph.
Well, thank you, Jamie. It means a lot to me. And it's people like you and my Nashville family that really bring out a light inside of me. It's a new drive, and it's very inspirational to be around a bunch of amazing people that are not only great people, but amazing musicians that really like the passion for music and for mental health. So
absolutely. Well, yeah. Steph, have a great day.
Thanks.
Say hi to Marla and the boys and the whole gang. And thank you so much for your time, Steph.
We can't wait to have you.
Bye.
Bye.